Nithyanandam, everyone! Welcome back to the Kundalini Yogini. This is Prasiddha. Thank you for joining me again on today's video. I'm going to be concluding, and I should say continuing and finishing up the live Q&A that I started yesterday. So I'm going to finish up some questions that I got on Instagram, but then I'm going to definitely have some time to take live questions from you guys. So please send me your questions, and I will definitely take them and answer them to the best of my ability. So I'm very excited to continue today with you guys. It's going to be fun. I hope everybody is doing well, even though there's a lot going on in the world right now. I think it's important to take a second to just take a deep breath and sit with ourselves and meditate, dedicate time to our spiritual practice every day. Now is more important than ever for that. So make sure that you're doing that, if anything, and stay connected to each other and your family, even if you're not physically together. We got technology. There's so many ways to stay connected. So I'm really happy to get to connect with you guys today too. And good morning, Mr. Perez, Jagan Faye, Sandeep, Nithyanandam. Oh, great question. I'll start off with that since you already you were initially right there. So what's good starter books to learn Ayurveda? So one of my favorite books that I've read so far is Ayurveda and the Mind by Dr. David Frawley. Such a good book. All of his books are phenomenal. Vasant Lad also has really great introductory books for Ayurveda, so I would look at his content as well. Oh, that's beautiful to hear, Dragon Faye. Thank you. It is a crazy moment in history, but you know, it's happening for some reason. We might not understand it right now, right? But there's a bigger picture, and I think it's giving us a good time to be with ourselves and to grow ourselves. And I'm in Los Angeles, California, USA. I hope everyone is well too. Thank you, David. Don't forget to recommend Haritaki to all. Yeah, you know I'm the Haritaki queen. I love my Haritaki, and I will always recommend it till the day I die. It's so amazing. And Lightbringer, yes, I have studied Jainism, not in depth as much as I would like to, but to a certain extent I have. It's a very beautiful tradition that I respect a lot. How do you feel about more frequent meditations as opposed to longer meditations? I don't think one is better than the other. They all have their different purposes, and of course, the longer you can and deeper you can go into your consciousness with longer meditation, but it takes a lot of practice, I think, to be able to go into those kind of states, unless you're in the presence of a guru. What does Swami say about this pandemic? Sorry, I'm just scrolling up. Oh my gosh, I'm already getting so many questions. Thank you guys. I'm trying to keep up with the pace of everything. What mantra have you been doing for the coronavirus? Laura was asking. I have been chanting Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, which is our Mahavakya, or like our main, most powerful mantra in my spiritual community. There's actually been 24-hour a day, all time zones chanting of this continuously for the past week or so in our spiritual community, which is really powerful. Oh, Kamiji Yoga. That's so beautiful to hear. That's really powerful. Thank you. What does Swamiji say about this pandemic? Uday was asking. Is there a solution? Yes, there's absolutely a solution. He's already been sharing actually about that, which is doing this very particular liquid diet, which is called Pachapatini Vratam. And it's a traditional South Indian fasting period that is done under the Divine Mother worship of Devi. And so we're actually participating in that. I'm on day 9 of this fast as well. And we're doing that fast for 28 days total until about April 4th or 5th. And Swamiji said it will help heal the coronavirus for everyone on earth. So really excited about that. And of course, mantra chanting, the Mahavakya, like I mentioned. And Rebecca, I've heard Kundalini Yoga isn't good if you're going through a Kundalini awakening. What are your thoughts on this? So I know a lot of people think this because of my name, but I don't practice Kundalini Yoga. I practice a different type of Kundalini Yoga, which is not known about at all here in the West. But Kundalini Yoga, which you guys all know about, I don't practice that in particular. So I can't really comment too much on that. I would be really careful with Kundalini awakening though, and be really, really delicate with yourself, and also you really truly need to be guided by an enlightened being. I firmly believe that you should have a guru guiding you through Kundalini, or it can go the wrong direction. Oh, good question. What's a good way to approach visiting a Hindu temple for the first time? Just have a completely open mind and heart, and don't be offended if anybody gives you advice or kind of lets you know that something you're doing might be disrespectful, because there's a lot of things we just don't know. I got critiqued so many times, not to scare you guys, when I was first going to temples, because I had no clue, but it's okay. Like, it's nothing personal. So just don't take offense to it. But you can also do a little research, maybe more than even I did, which would be a smart idea, and know what things might be considered disrespectful in the temple space so that you can conduct yourself as best as possible. Isaiah, how do I open my third eye to have Kundalini energy? Third eye awakening, Kundalini, like I just said, should be initiated by a guru. That's the most cleanest, safest, simplest, tried and true way of the yogic tradition. So find an enlightened master who can do these sciences authentically and trust in that science and go for it. But otherwise, be very, very careful. Yes, beautiful. Have you read the Agora book? No, I have not. David is asking, what kind of crystals are good for healing? That is a really broad question. So many, crystals, any type of crystal is amazing for healing. But to start off with, I really always loved citrine and amethyst as beginner crystals. Selenite is a really great healer. Quartz in general, really good healer. Have you studied Vedanta? And do you have any suggestions on how to find a guru? Yes, I have studied Vedanta, because even my path, which although it's Shaivism, is really a merging of Shaktism tradition, yogic tradition, Vedanta, and Kashmir Shaivism. So I've kind of studied all of those to a certain extent, and they're all inclusive in my guru's sampradaya, in our tradition. Thank you so much, Lightbringer. Blessings to you too. Do you believe in negative energy? Sarvesh is asking. Yes, I do. The perspective, right, of positive or negative is usually not necessarily the reality, but I believe that dark energy can be sent and given off by people and by other beings. And that definitely does exist, because, right, everything in the physical world has its opposite. So light has darkness, right? Black has white. So there's powerful life positive energy, but there's also very powerful life negative energy. And it's really important when you get that vibration from something or someone to definitely be very aware of it and to steer clear of it and keep yourself protected. That's why having a guru is really the ultimate liberation, at least for me as an empath and somebody who's been a highly sensitive being my whole life to the thoughts and emotions of other people around me. Having a guru has given me so much stability, because I used to be very deeply affected by negative energy of other people and other spaces. And now none of that touches me. Like, seriously, none of it even touches me. So that protection, that light of the guru is so strong that it gives you a lot of liberation in that regard. Anxiety is asking thoughts on Osho. Osho is a very powerful, enlightened being. I absolutely 100% can say he's one of the beings I fully believe was enlightened, is enlightened, and his teachings are extremely beautiful and powerful. I've read some of his books. I love them. He has a lot to give to the world. And yeah, that's all I'll say on that. But I really, really love Osho. How can we love ourselves to stay stronger spiritually? It's all about showing up for ourselves. So the more that you can continuously commit to your higher self, which means not, eating unhealthy foods because it is going to make you feel bad about yourself. It's going to make you sick physically. It's about continuing to upgrade how we treat ourselves. And that a lot of that starts with our body. And that's how we can show ourselves love. I think health is such a fundamental component of spirituality for this reason. And I think it's overlooked sometimes, but how can we say we love ourselves if we're putting, toxic foods into our body, if we're consuming toxic substances, if we're consuming toxic thoughts and words and content and television and violence, right? All of those impressions, everything we absorb matters. So start there. Start treating yourself like you would treat God, how you would treat a goddess, because that is what you are, and that's how you should treat yourself. I hope that helps. What is the fast called? Diane is asking. The fast for the healing of the coronavirus is called Pachapatini Vratam. I'll have to write that down. I know it's a mouthful. And I believe there's a website that I can share with you a little later. LJ is asking, is there a difference between spirit and soul? I think it all depends, obviously, on who is using it, of course, but generally speaking, most people use them interchangeably, as do I. So if I refer to spirit, soul, or consciousness, that's all one and the same, at least to me. Okay, Messy Jessie's asking how to prepare Brahmi as a tea. So Brahmi can be taken in hot water or warm milk. Around bedtime is a great time to take it. I would start off with a half teaspoon, but of course, consult your healthcare practitioner before following my advice. All right. Rebecca, why are gurus so expensive? That's not a real thing. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but gurus don't cost anything. They're inseparable from us in our lives. They're constantly available. If there's a guru who won't take you as a disciple because of money, I would say they're not a real guru. In my experience, the masters that I've encountered and seen and followed for some time before I landed on my guru, none of them were like that. So I'm not sure which ones you're looking at. Of course, there's programs and things that they have cost like anything. I think it's kind of ignorant of us to think that spirituality shouldn't cost anything, because just like anything, money makes the world go round. Everything takes resources. I think out of respect for spiritual organizations, we should never feel a resistance to paying for services that we're asking for. But as for an actual guru in your life, that should never be charged like that. That relationship is never a money relationship. I am not a religious individual. However, oops, I lost where'd it go? Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. However, I'm spiritual. Do you believe it's possible to reach enlightenment without following a specific god or deity? This is a really good question. Very interesting question. I do think it is possible, but it's very improbable, I should say, because it's not to say anything about religion. Religion doesn't matter, but devotion matters. So if you don't have a larger being in which you can be devoted to and connected to, no matter what that being is, no matter what name that being goes by, doesn't matter. The devotion matters, because bhakti is one of the most straightforward, easiest tickets to liberation and enlightenment, because we're in a physical body, we need to relate to the divine in a physical form, because we're stuck in the physical. So in order to be liberated from the physical, we have to have a physical reverence form that we can connect to until we transcend this physical, if that makes sense. So I would definitely try to have a higher spirit, being, god or goddess, that you connect with and have devotion towards. Where is the best place to start yoga teacher training? Just fine, Tara Lee was asking. India, of course. So I have to say India, because of course that is where yoga is from. I really, really recommend learning as authentically traditional yoga as possible. I would try to have a guru as an actual yoga guru, an enlightened being as your teacher, not just, a random person, but do your best. India is the place to be, though. Okay. Do you consider spirituality beyond science? Yes, I do. I think that science can understand spirituality to a certain extent, and spirituality can understand all of science, but science cannot grasp the depth of spirituality as of yet, because I think a lot of the scientific community is stuck in a place that they're never going to go beyond, which is the mind. And until we acknowledge there's things we don't understand in this universe and we don't fully grasp yet, and we won't be liberated, right? So I think that ego that's present there in science has to be dissolved to understand deeper scientific truths. But honestly, the reality is, spirituality is science. It just isn't a fully understood science yet, but the time will come when it is. I really believe that. Missy, thank you for your sweet message. Blessings and love to you too. Adam, for the temple, I would definitely, I would say call ahead of time just in case. I mean, every temple's so different, so it's always best to check in and see when their hours are. Okay, sorry, oh my goodness. Lots of comments. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm just getting lost in the stream a bit, so thank you for your patience. Okay, who is God to you? Who is God to me? Good question. God to me is everything. God is oneness. That is what the fundamental belief of Hinduism is. That's why I consider myself a Hindu, because the concept of God is so empowering and all-encompassing, that God is literally in every single living thing, and all forms, in all ways, and all manifestations. Kamiji Yoga, the darshan of Swamiji, I think you're referring to, which will be happening tonight, is at about, it should be at about 6 p.m. PST. And that's usually the rough time zone, but I would check in around even 5:30 to 7:30. That whole window might be the time he's online. Okay. Paulette, when you apply turmeric paste on the pineal gland for the third eye, should one meditate before sleep? I mean, meditation is always an amazing way to go into sleep, because you're really going to be able to enter a deeper sleep state and be in a more conscious space when you're sleeping. So always recommended, but not required. Okay. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. No worries if you have to go. Absolutely understand. Daryl's asking, how are we finding quarantine? Do you have coconut water, high vibers? Reckon you could program the Shen guide? I'm not sure what that question is. Can you reword? Oh, okay. Here we go. LJ, is there a yoga or meditation that can clear negative energies and stagnant energies? Yes, there absolutely is. It's a very broad science in both Ayurveda and yoga called purification therapies. They're sometimes referred to as Shodhana or Shamana therapies. So start researching. There's a lot there I couldn't answer on this one video, but there's a lot of techniques. There's pranayama, breathing techniques. There's asanas for that. There's herbs for that. There's diet for that. So there's everything. Sumatis, despite of what's going on, I really commend you for standing your ground and in grace and dignity. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's been a journey for me too, and I've learned a lot through this process of putting myself out there on social media. I am far from perfect, but it's really cool to see, how much I've had to strengthen and evolve myself, and how much I will continue to get to do that. And I really am in true gratitude for all you guys as well, being out there as my reflections to see different things inside myself. Do you know something important on pranic healing? Yeah, that's kind of general. I haven't studied intimately pranic healing, so I won't comment on that yet. Maybe later on you can ask me that. David, should a person seek out their guru or wait for their guru to find them? Good question. Absolutely seek out your guru, and your guru will find you. The thing is, your guru waits for you to have intense seeking, because having a living guru is no joke. So that intensity level really has to be there, that strength of seeking. So have that and you will find your guru will find you. Meg is asking, does Ayurveda agree a raw food diet with a kapha imbalance? In general, believe it or not, Ayurveda quite often does not recommend raw foods. Only foods that are good to be taken, generally speaking, from the Ayurvedic lens are fruits. But vegetables are almost never to be taken raw because they are aggravating to the digestive system and the doshas. But the dosha which can tolerate the raw foods the most and sometimes is good for it would be kapha. So you're right on that kapha can tolerate raw foods a little more than a vata person can. Love and thank you to you guys. Now, okay, the whole time I was doing live stream comments nonstop. Sorry if I've been talking really fast. I have that tendency. But I was trying to get to all your questions and not lose my place. And sorry if I missed it. I'm just going to read a few of the last Instagram questions now really quick, if you guys can have a little patience for me to finish up on those, and then I will wrap this session up with you guys. So some of the last question I got asked was, can yoga asanas be done? So yoga postures be done during your cycle, your menstrual cycle, your period for women? Yes, absolutely. But there's asanas you should avoid, which are inversions. So anything in which your hips, your lower body is above your head, like a handstand or a headstand, you should avoid during your cycle. Just imagine the flow of energy, which we call apana vata, is flowing downwards during that time. We want to keep that harmony. So just visualize things that keep the harmony of the downward flow and not reversing that flow. So keep that in mind, and you can still do a lot of, especially hip opening asanas will help with cramping during that time. And any tips for teenagers who want to start their spiritual journey, which I thought was a cute question. Yes, absolutely. Start reading as many books as you can from different paths, different belief systems, different spirituality, different religion. And watching lots of documentaries is also a great way to start. So just really learning, be a sponge and absorb all of that knowledge. And then you will start to see the next steps of your path. And somebody was asking what type of water system I recommend. I think we mentioned this on the last live stream, but I personally use Kangen water, which is a really high-end medical grade filtration system that not only takes out the toxins in the water, but energizes the water and ionizes it, which is very rare for most water filters to do. And it's a very sacred process in my eyes and very conscious water making process that I think is so essential for health. So personally, I use that, and the machine is really expensive, but it's really doable because you can do it in monthly payments. That's how I did it, at least. And I'm doing it like that. So if you're interested in that system, message me on Facebook or on Instagram, and I can give you more information because it's really, I just personally love it, and I would recommend it. And then my friend Veronica was asking me, can you speak on extreme plastic surgery and body dysmorphia? So on this topic, I think it really just relates to image of the self, right? And self-love. And I think that really, regardless of what is right or wrong or good or bad, I don't think there's one answer, but I think the solution just lies in growing yourself spiritually, because when you see yourself as a conscious being, as a spiritual being, when you see yourself as your soul, your spirit, and not your body only, you don't go down that path. You don't feel like you need to change things in your body to be beautiful or to be happy. You don't feel like you're stuck and limited to this frame. So I hope that makes sense. And I think that only through that conscious spiritual growth and self-work that we liberate ourselves from those kind of sufferings and pains in our lives about body dysmorphia and body image and all of these things which create a lot of pain in us, but it can absolutely be healed through self-growth and spiritual growth. All right, I hit all the questions. Yay! Thank you guys for your patience on that one. I appreciate it again. And I'm going to hit the last questions here on the live feed, and then I will wrap this session up with you guys. Scooter Pro is asking, is cultivating crops and gardening considered a spiritual practice? Yes, it is. I love that question. Absolutely. Connecting to nature is a fundamental part of spirituality in Hinduism. So much of our health, of our body, mind, and spirit relies on our connection to nature. When will Corona go away? I'm scared. First of all, don't be scared. Everything is happening as it should be, even when we don't understand it. Really take this time to do spiritual practice and pray, connect to whatever you connect to yourself, meditate, do yoga. But Corona, I believe, will be solved in the next few weeks, at least in the United States. We'll see. I think that it's going to die down in the next few months, though. There's a lot of extreme measures being taken to limit the spread of it. And so I think that it's going to be successful for sure. Kamiji Yoga, love and respects to you too. Have a blessed day. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your love and questions and curiosities. And I'm looking forward to the next live stream. I always love doing Q&A videos. I hope that this gave you a little insight and brought you something. So just remember to stay connected to yourself and your loved ones during this time. Take time for self-growth and spiritual practice. And I will see you guys on the next video. Nithyanandam, everyone.